So, question 8, ladies, in our book of 101 essays that will change the way you think from Brianna Wiest. No, we don't get paid for this. Um, we mention her so often, I'm sure people think that. Question number 8 is, what are your greatest accomplishments so far? And I guess there is the obvious greatest accomplishment, uh, having your children. So I think if we just kind of go, okay, that's a given, and we are now going to move on from that to figure out what our greatest accomplishments are. What does that look like? Sorry, my turkeys are moving around here.
I just have to start saying this is a really scary question. All these questions are really, it's like they make you think. Because right away I go, do I have any?
Yep.
Like, do I have
Right.
Yeah,
any? And I know I have some, but
yeah.
ah,
So I just want to we keep doing these questions. I just want to let everybody knows. This is from chapter 28, and it says 16 questions that will show you who you are and what you're meant to do.
Okay, and there's a paragraph in there that says the real work of anything is simply becoming conscious
mm,
of what is already true.
Right. So I find this question is no different than somebody used to say to me, like, because I think when we look at accomplishments, we take what we've done as normal everyday things,
Mhm,
kind of,
mhm,
where other people would be like, I could never do that.
mhm.
So
go
we're
ahead,
going
go
for
ahead. I might steal a couple of your guys's.
you won't steal this one.
I got one. Go.
I did Devil's Den. I did
Okay.
that huge race at the age of 64. First time ever doing a race like that. I was always intimidated. But I mean, I had attempted it once before. I had done smaller things with my son, but this was like the first time I really, really did something like that. And I'm pretty proud of that accomplishment, you know. The other
That's a
accomplishment,
huge one.
yeah.
Mhm.
Actually, the other ones were getting my college degrees. So I got my associates and I got my bachelor's, but I did those in my 50s.
Mm.
So those are two I could think of off the top of my head.
Okay, so I have one just based on what you said, is that my family was skiers and I couldn't ski, even though I grew up in, where you can ski like 30 minutes away.
Yep.
And I learned how to snowboard in my late 40s, early 50s. And it's not the act of the snowboarding, it's the act that I'm very proud of, is that I took fear. And to me, that was a big one because it was more important to do the sport with my family than the fear of um, learning this new sport. So that was a big accomplishment because it meant so much more to me than just the sport. It was that
Mm-hmm.
you went out there, you pushed yourself outside of something. So that was a big accomplishment for me.
Yeah, yeah,
Is that what we're doing?
absolutely.
Accomplishment, yeah.
Yeah. Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Yeah, that's cool. Like I like we're doing it this way, piecemeal.
Rather than one, two, three.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess then one for me would be that I was a living liver donor to my sister-in-law and then completed a half marathon within the year after donating my liver.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah. That
That's
is huge and very honorable for you. Like to be able to do the part, giving her that. ability, you know. Okay, hold on. Let me think what else. Oh God, this is hard.
It's really hard. I mean,
I think it's
if we're
hard.
thinking of accomplishments as in things that we have done, or is it also accomplishments in what we have become?
Well, so here's a funny thing. I was having a conversation with somebody this past weekend, and they're down from Wisconsin, and they're staying. She goes, um, they have to drive back home. And she goes, I won't drive alone. I'm deathly afraid of driving alone. I don't know how you do that. And that boggled my mind. One, that like maybe it's the day and age. She doesn't want to be, but she can drive all day long. She doesn't have to drive at night. And second, I don't think it's a big deal. And the reason why I'm telling the story is I think we do things that we don't think
Mm.
are a big deal,
Yeah,
but they are an accomplishment.
yeah, yeah, totally.
I mean, I think for all three of us, we have worked in industries that have been, for me, I know was very male dominated. And we have built very successful careers. And none of us have said that,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because I think we think that's just part of life.
So even if you can't come up with a list, just asking yourself the question, I think
Right,
is just huge because exactly that.
right.
And I
Yeah,
think, and again, I think we're thinking of, okay, what are the, like, what's the huge things
Yeah, what's
that,
the
like,
big
I've
thing?
done here? What's the big
yeah,
accomplishment? It's like, I also got my driver's license,
yeah. So there's accomplishments we
you know?
achieve every day and every week and every stage and season of our life that I
And
don't think,
we discount, like you said, Michelle, we discount the stuff that we have done. And I think to be able to make a list of all the accomplishments, regardless of what we think they are, big or small or nondescript, everybody does this because there are so many times that you can say, well, everybody does this, and then you can think of so many people who haven't done that. Like, I went and got my driver's license. Well, my sister didn't get her driver's license. I mean, she eventually did, but not when I got mine. Like I was,
hmm
she was older than me and I got my license. My
hmm
nephew's never gotten a driver's license. Like I know lots of people who don't have driver's license
right.
for whatever reason. So yeah, that's a pretty good accomplishment.
Yeah,
And I also think it's timing because I did a big pivot in my 30s where I left one position, went back to school, and completely started a whole new industry that took me, that's where my husband, all this stuff. And at the time, like, if you heard that today, you go, well, what's the big thing? Like, that's so, but at the
yeah,
time, that was huge because you had a stable job, you had, benefits, all that crap. And you're like, that's huge. And I think we forget that too, is the timing of things.
Mhm.
And
right.
now what are the norm? We asked when we started our own business, we made sure we asked one of our biggest clients at the time if I could work from home. And that was pre-COVID. That was when no
Yep.
one worked at home. But now if I said that, oh, look, we asked our one of our clients, they'd go, well, what's so big about that, Tracy? So I think just the reflection and where if you look at the timing and who you were and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think we think, just like we all said at the beginning of this, we thought these big, grandiose accomplishments. And we take our normal,
Hmm.
what we feel normal everyday things as not an accomplishment.
Hmm.
But we might be doing something that's hard that somebody else doesn't do, can't do, doesn't want to do. And we take it as a norm, you know? So I think and I think it was you, Tracy E. We were talking, was it last year? Just you and I were doing some talking. and you were challenging me to write down my
Mhm,
accomplishments.
mhm.
But Tracy G, she made me write down 50. And if that was easy, I had to go to 75. And I was like, that's that's difficult. But then when you start to pull it apart,
Mhm.
Mhm.
driver's license, high school, I got my 2 degrees, you got, the purchase of your first home, your first job, your whatever it is, we don't give ourselves
Mhm.
credit
Mhm.
of what we accomplish because we think it has to be this grandiose thing.
Mhm.
And maybe, I like this question, maybe we need to start celebrating the everyday accomplishments we do.
Mhm.
Well, and also to tag on to that, when you first said it, the question, it's like, right away, am I comparing myself to someone else as opposed to what have I accomplished for me that is huge
Yeah,
for me, not
Mhm.
compared to
right.
Tracy or Michelle, but for me. And I think that's a
Mhm.
big um, perspective
Yeah.
that we should look at.
Yeah.
I
Because
think that's good.
I think it's also not just that, but it's who it is that you have become
Hmm.
in order to do those things. Like you said, overcoming the fear of trying to learn something new
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
whatever that fear represented to you for
Hmm.
skiing, and you were like, "No, I'm going to do this because I want to be out there with my family."
Hmm.
And it's
Right.
like, okay, so like all of the stuff that you did to process that, to get over it, to become more confident, to do like that's huge.
It is
And we
huge.
for
And on top of that, I learned how to snowboard like that.
Right.
Not, and that's
so
not physical ability. That was me going, this is my last kick at the can. I better know this or I can't do it, right? But that exactly what you were just saying.
yeah.
And Tracy G, I remember one of our episodes last year, we were talking about finding our voices, and you told us a story about having to really go after some lawyers and
Mm.
Mm,
ask these questions. I mean, that was an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it was an accomplishment that you decided to change lawyers. It was an accomplishment that
Yeah.
you found that voice. That's what I mean. I think we look at the word as accomplishments that has to be up here.
mhm.
Yeah.
And really, it's whatever you want it to be.
Hmm. I agree.
But I think it's a great exercise to do for you to take a step back and realize how wonderful you are as a person.
Mhm.
You, me, all of us.
Mhm.
When we look at, I mean, I think it's an exercise that should be done. Like, what did I accomplish this month? What did I accomplish today? It's not as a belittling, it's a rising up. Not as, and you brought up a great point, Tracy G, not comparison,
Yeah.
not
I think
comparison.
if you did it not as a New Year's, there was a, do you remember Dawson Creek? That there
Hmm.
was a show. There was
Mhm.
the Dawson. He did something recently where he said, I don't understand New Year's um January 1st because it's, was some arbitrary Gregorian calendar. He
Yeah.
says it should be spring. That's when new beginnings, and
Yes.
that's when you get out of hibernation, you're ready to start, and start your new beginnings. And I thought that was really good. And I think if in the spring, every year, if you're not going to do a monthly, if every year you look and go, what have I accomplished
Yeah.
this year? And just keep adding to your list and go, that's what I did. Like, look at what I've done. Now I'm ready to do more, right? Now
Right.
I'm ready to begin something new. So,
And I
It
think
it does.
it gives
Sorry,
you
go ahead.
momentum. It gives you
yeah,
momentum.
Mhm.
Even
It
keep the
also
list going.
yeah,
you have to
Like,
create the list first, though.
yes,
yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
You have to add, you have to be, that's where the effort is because otherwise, a whole year goes by and we sit there and we look at some of these things, whether it's spring, January 1st, June 18th, whatever date it is that you want to pick for your newness, this is
Mhm.
where I'm going to start from every Monday. I don't care. It's like, the thing is that if we aren't reflective to look at what it is that we've done, then when we come to that time, our brains don't offer us anything. We're like, oh, what have I done? What have I done?
Right.
Because we're looking for the big thing, right? We're looking for the big things. And then we can end up spiraling into, self-sabotage and, self-hatred and all of those things. So it's so important just to write down one thing a week. One thing a week.
Yeah.
Well, and also you can have the best partner in the world, but no one's going to advocate for you as much as yourself.
Yep.
Like they don't know the personal little thing that you might have done today that for you you went, shit, that was great, right?
Yep.
So don't wait for other people to give it to you. You've got to do it yourself. That's
Yeah.
that's the work.
Yeah. So even though we haven't sat here and done these huge lists of our, greatest accomplishments, we both all three feel very blessed by what we have accomplished, down to the smallest thing to the gigantic things, you know. So, viewer, that's what I challenge you. I love Tracy's E's um, thought process of just start making a list and keeping that list. And then Tracy G, I think you said, or one of you said, just write something once a week of what you've accomplished
Mhm.
and watch how that changes your perspective and your abilities. It's unbelievable.
Mhm.
We would love to hear if you would like to share any accomplishments. I didn't say greatest accomplishments. The simplest to whatever you feel like sharing. We'd love to hear from it in the comments. Share this with somebody who you think needs to hear this. And make sure you hit that like button and subscribe and notifications so you know when the next episode comes out. Until next time.
Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you as a regular member of our community.